It's been a while since I did my last combat video, and my orders changed enough, with many of my last mods being taken down and some great new ones being put up, so I figured now is the right time to redo the video. For me, Skyrim's combat needed improvement in a few areas, the first of which is animations. The main reason I feel these need a rework is because we've all seen the vanilla movements far too many times at this point. Much like my last video, I'm still using the Ultimate Dodge mod, and for good reason. Ultimate Dodge mod allows me to get out of trouble, bridge a gap to an archer, or just simply look very cool. The crossover between Witcher and Dark Souls with Skyrim players is fairly substantial, so I imagine most of you are used to this kind of mechanic. This mod hasn't left my order and won't be doing so anytime soon. Considering it's only 12 megabytes, it's really easy to find a space for this. I've already made a video on it, which you'll find in the top corner right now. This will help you with getting it set up for the first time, and I go into a little bit more detail there, but seeing as I've made this video already, I'll leave it and move on to the next mod. Spoiler Animations, which is a collection of multiple animation mods which include magic animations, lightfoot jumping animations, sneak animations, block animations, and the two I'm actually using this for, dual wield improved animations and beastly greatsword. I've always found dual wielding has been extremely weird looking in the vanilla game, just randomly slashing away with little sense of direction, making it really fiddly to control. Luckily this mod does away with that issue, making strikes feel more purposeful and accurate. The animations from Beastly Greatsword perform a very similar role. Each move transitions fluidly into the next with motions that would theoretically add power to the stroke. However, if you find yourself in a real sword fight, probably don't show your opponent your back. Despite that obvious flaw, this set of animations does look really cool and adds a lot of usability to the greatsword. You can grab the two files individually for 576.4 kilobytes and 1.4 megabytes respectively. However, the all-in-one is 3 megabytes, so I just grabbed that instead. On top of this I run dual sun animations. There are two versions of this mod with a very simple difference. One is designed for one-handed unsheathing and the other for dual wield. Otherwise they're the same file. As both come in at 3.7 megabytes, it's really just a preference-based choice. Both files include one- and two-handed unsheathing, magic casting, bow and crossbow animations, sneaking, walking, running, jumping, and idles, unarmed combat and blocking. This mod seriously covers an awful lot, and it does it extremely well. I use this set of animations because they're almost heroic seeming. In honesty, I cover some of them with other mods, but those aren't combat based, but if you'd like to know about those, please don't hesitate to ask. The final animation I want to talk about before this risks becoming an animation based video is brand new. This is weapons on the back all in one, which includes swords, arrows, and now daggers. This is a simple weapon placement and unsheathing mod. I'll keep it short because it's not strictly combat, but does add to the drama of the scenario. The daggers were added on the 28th, so literally a few days back, and bring the file up to 825.6 kilobytes. This is really more of a public service announcement, as I know plenty of you were waiting for the daggers to be added. I'll leave the animations at that, but please feel free to ask about what else I'm using. And now for the actual combat mods. In my opinion, both the AI and mechanics needed to be changed, so I'll cover those now. The main mod I'm using to do this is Wildcat, Combat of Skyrim. I'm partial to this mod because unlike most of the other AI mods, this retains the enemy NPC's aggression but utilises it much better. Enemies will still rush to find you and assault you, but unlike vanilla, they will attack more correctly. Archers and mages will keep range and look for higher ground to assault from, and switch to close range weapons when you get too close. Melee users will rush towards you but block more decisively and use power attacks at the correct moments. But Wildcat covers more than just AI. Included are a bunch of mechanical changes, my favourite of which is stamina costs. Drawing a bow or swinging a weapon will cause the stamina to drain. They're heavy and it takes it out of the user. I always felt like this should have been part of the game. Wildcat also adds in a bunch of different injuries depending on where you hit or are hit. In a very similar vein to Fallout, the injury system will affect how you or your target can perform until the injury is fixed. The effects range from taking more damage, using extra stamina, or just moving slower. We also get attacks of opportunity. This means if our attacks or those of our opponents are timed properly, they will cause extra damage. Targets are more vulnerable when hit from behind, staggered, or mid-drawing a bow. This pairs really well with time blocking, which makes shields a more valuable option again. Time blocking basically means if a shield is raised at the correct moment, the attacker will be staggered. If attacked after this, there will be extra damage. This is part of the reason I find Wildcat is a must in my orders. Every type of combat feels like it has more of a place. It also happens to change the damage multipliers depending on the difficulty level you play at. Check the description for a link to the mod to find the numbers relevant to you. All of that in one mod, and all for the little price of 640.1 kilobytes. But it doesn't quite end there. You're also given a power to tweak the mod to your liking, removing features or changing stamina output, I highly recommend this mod. Beyond this, I'm also using Search and Destroy, extended combat range and stealth searches. This mod blends really well with Wildcat, as it, as I'm sure you've guessed, adds range to the distance enemies will spot you and hunt you down from. It also increases the amount of time they'll search for you should you fall off their radar. In vanilla, you could legitimately attack someone 10 foot away from their friend and they wouldn't spot you. With this installed, you can be seen from beyond your radar ping distance, meaning you could be getting attacked from someone you couldn't quite see yet. This mod truly adds depth to factions. Bandits, Forsworn and Silverhand now feel more like a team than a collective of individuals running at you one at a time. You have to be prepared for your encounters or you will be overwhelmed. Search and Destroy comes in at 759 bytes and with no scripts. It's safe to say you can always find room for this mod. My final mod is going to be TDG's Advanced Combat. This mod makes combat faster and more tactical. Consecutive unblocked attacks increase in damage with every single hit, making one-handed, dual-wielding and especially daggers more viable for their speed. We also get access to parrying. If both you and the opponent attack at the same time, swords will clash and less damage will be dealt and received. I said in my original combat video that parrying is something I really wanted, and this mod has granted me that. It is at first a little jarring, but when you get used to it, you will like it. High block is another feature in this mod, and it pairs really well with Wildcat's time blocking. This feature means that for the first few seconds after blocking, you'll take 50% less damage. Another really handy feature making shields even more viable. However, if either you or an NPC use a power attack, a stun effect will take place. This happens whether the shield is raised or not, but I needed a good jumping off point. This mod does feature a time block mechanic, but that's already covered in Wildcat, which this mod is compatible with, just ensure Wildcat is below it. TDG's Advanced Combat comes in at 1.4 megabytes and is highly compatible with other fan favourite mods. And now for something I've not done in a while, my suggestions section. With all the above in mind, I truly have to suggest a mod like Immersive Follower Framework. It will allow you to somewhat even the odds with up to 3 followers in tow. Each set is essential so you won't lose them if you're a little bit wayward like I am. For extra immersion, I suggest the mod Stay Down. This means when an essential follower takes a knee after being defeated, they won't get up until after the battle is over. Recycler is also a must, as it makes all of your spawns come back a lot faster for you to fight again. Why improve combat if you're not going to use it enough? I also suggest Immersive Patrols. I love adding this in as it gives me more to fight, loot, and more help along the roads. It's always fine to need a little bit more help here and there, but for those of you who don't and would like to make their game cripplingly hard, I suggest throwing on Know Your Enemies All in One for its weaknesses and resistances alongside rebalanced encounter zones and leveled actors. Using all of these together is a recipe for hair loss, so don't say I didn't warn you, but on that I am going to end. This has been a fair bit longer than my latest videos, but I've had a lot of questions about my last combat video and I thought I'd bring the updates over to you. I hope this has helped. I do as always appreciate those likes and subscriptions, and as I'm sure you're aware, I love talking Skyrim, so please feel free to hit me up with anything in the comments section. Thank you for watching and I hope to see you in the next one.